You know, unfortunately, we still don't have the hostages back, and it's been devastating. What's the approach for a ceasefire, and if there is, like, how do we go about that?
I can tell you that if you ask on complicated questions, they are coming usually from places like ministers, like high degrees in the army, sometimes Mossad, or other places. I have one condition with all of them. I'm ready to give advice, to speak with all of them, and I do it a lot. But they mustn't mention my name. We can give a view of Torah that can help. I won't speak on all the things, but I'll say briefly.
Welcome back to another episode of Inspiration for the Nation, and we have a jam-packed episode with really interesting questions and stories from one of the top rabbis in Israel. And before we dive in, I'm actually curious, because I want to know where you're watching this episode. Is this still Hanukkah? Is it 2024? Is it the winter? We'd love to know when you, the listener or watcher, are actually watching this or listening. Drop in the YouTube or Spotify comments when you're actually watching this. Now, one of the most common questions I get is, which podcasts do I personally listen to? Well, after I listen to every episode of Inspiration for the Nation, that's a joke, I don't listen to my own show, I do legitimately listen to the Kiddush Club podcast. So everyone can stop asking me. Kiddush Club is basically two hilarious guys who their identity is a mystery, and they break down the latest in the news in a really fun way. So if you want to keep on getting informed and have a good laugh, check them out on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast. There'll be a link in the show notes. So the drones, Trump, aliens, Musk, Rebels, they cover it all. And they also have some really, really fun interviews. When I'm driving in the car, I listen to them. It's the best place to get news for the Jews with Kiddush Club. It's like you're at a Kiddush Club, like in shul, but you're not actually in shul, so your Rav's not going to get upset at you. It's a fun time. They're kosher, they're great, they're hilarious, and they're good friends. So go ahead and check out their podcast. Rabbi Yosef Zvi Rimon is a world-renowned Torah scholar, educator, and community leader in Israel. He is the founder of Sulamot, an organization that combines Torah learning with social impact, and the head of the Halachic department at Herzog College. Rabbi Rimon is widely respected for his deep Halachic knowledge, innovative solutions to modern-day challenges, and dedication to helping others. In this episode, you hear about his involvement with a peace deal for the hostages, really touching stories with widows and orphans, and his involvement with the Mossad? Yeah. This week's holy episode is in memory of Miriam Sarah Bas Yaakov Moshe and Shimon David Ben Yaakov Shlomo. I want to thank our sponsors, PZ Deals. Download their app and never pay full price again. Twillory, the ultimate brand for men's clothing. Sword to Shekel, a beautiful organization really helping our soldiers. And BitBean, the kings of custom software. Here we go. I'm Yaakov Langer, and you're listening to Inspiration for the Nation. Thank you so much, Rabbi Rimon, for coming here and doing this. I know you're very busy, so I appreciate it.
Besimcha.
Okay, so there's a lot of topics and questions I have for the Rav, but first off, could the Rav tell us a little more about his background? I read somewhere that the Rav was maybe thinking of becoming a doctor at one point. I don't know if that's accurate. But yeah, if the Rav could tell us about his background.
So, I was born by mistake in London. Because my mother was British and she went to give birth next to her mother, so all my siblings were born in London. I grew up in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv, center of Tel Aviv, Gordon, Dizengoff, and I learned from schools in Tel Aviv, then in Jerusalem, in Netiv Meir of Rav Aryeh Bina, and then in Yeshivat Har Etzion, Gush, Rav Lichtenstein, Rav Amital. And then when I landed in Gush, I was sure that I'm going to be a doctor. Always I was taught to Torah. When I was around 13 years old, there was a levaya, funeral of my aunt that I was very close with. It was raining. And I knew that if it's raining in a levaya, it's a good sign. And I asked the rabbi there, I said, yes, it's a good sign. I said, how do you know? Where it's written? I said, I don't know. Then another one asked, said, I don't know. You know, today, 30 seconds in Google, you would find it. But Baruch Hashem, I had no Google. So I wrote a letter to the chief rabbi of Israel, Rav Ovadia Yosef. And he sent me an answer. I saw And he wrote me this Gemara in Sanhedrin of Tzadik Zayin. I said, okay, he answers. I'll write again and again. And I was learning also normal things, Gemara and other things. And also when I had free times, I started learning in the beginning his books, Shelot U'Tshuvois, and then Tzitz Eliezer and Igrot Moshe, so I was very connected. But I knew that I'm going to be a doctor. My father, it was certain, he knew 100% that I'm going to be a doctor. And after a few years in Yeshiva, Mori Rabbi Arav Lichtenstein, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, called me to his room and said, I know that you want to be a doctor. And he spoke quarter of an hour how medicine is important. And he said to be a doctor is profession of chesed. And I said to myself, wow, so nice to see that my Rebbe gives me chizuk, encouraged me to go to be a doctor. But after quarter of an hour, I said, aval. But in your case, you should stay in Torah. This is your mission in life. Stay in Torah, stay in education. And I changed the course of my life, and I continued in Torah. After 2 years, I became Rebbe in Gush. For years, I was a Rebbe of Gemara in Yeshivat Eretz Zion. And later on, I became the Rebbe of Alon Shvut South, and afterwards the Rosh Yeshiva of Machon Lev in Jerusalem. In addition, also the chief rabbi today of Gush Etzion, of the entire area of Gush Etzion. So this is a quick summary.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions on that, but I know there's a lot to cover here. So I want to start off with Gush Katif, and I know the Rav was very involved in helping the people at that time, just get a place to stay and things like that. So I want to hear about the Rav's perspective, and then also in 2024, 2025, looking back and seeing, unfortunately, what's been going on now. Like, how does that make the Rav feel?
So around 20 years ago was a disengagement of Gush Katif. Thousands of people were chucked out of their houses. And I was asked by rabbis from Gush Katif to go around to the hotels to see what's going on. I went and I saw that things weren't prepared. No laundry solutions. For a few days, it was ended with few months. Activities for children, youth, other things. And straight away, I took thousands of people from my community and people around all Israel. And we started helping them with lots of things like activities, laundry, other things. And after a few days, I discovered that worst of all is that those people that were working people found themselves jobless. 85% found themselves with no jobs. And I saw how it affects terrible their whole life. This is not my profession. I'm a rabbi. I'm writing books. I'm teaching. But I saw that no one is doing something seriously in this. So I started in the beginning from my home, my house, a few volunteers. Then I collected more volunteers and more. Then professional people. And then I opened an organization called Job Katif to help the people from Gush Katif to find jobs. And on the bottom line, although it was very complicated, we succeeded in years to find jobs for 3,500 people, to open 280 small businesses, and to bring the Gush Katif to the average of unemployment in Medinat Israel. We got on it the President Award of Volunteer from Shimon Peres in 2008. And then the government checked and she saw that we are doing what the government should have done. So she did matching with us. They gave 18 millions. We had to raise 18 millions. And this showed me that you can take people that are broken, that over 40 or 50 years old, that they have to change the profession because most of them were working in agriculture, and to succeed, to bring them to work, to have a good life again. So this was the beginning with Gush Katif.
Really beautiful. And I want to ask you about the balance between like Torah and Chesed. But before we get there, I know you had the opportunity to become the chief rabbi of Israel, but you turned it down. Could you explain that decision?
When they asked me, I knew it's important because I know that the chief rabbi of Israel can be someone that inspires people, give them chizuk, strength. Let's imagine in our war that every week would be a message of 5 minutes to give chizuk, that everyone, doesn't matter if they're observant, not observant, from, not from, everyone would like to watch it and to feel that it gives him happiness and simcha and koach. Let's imagine that the chief rabbi is not dealing just with marriage and kashrus, but let's say that once a week he has a special podcast, or that he speaks on education, on love, on things that can help lots of people. I think that in this way, everyone can be connected and to feel that the Rabbanut, the Torah is something important, that something that also if they are not there, they can appreciate it. And I think that there are lots of important things that can be done. But you asked before, my main hat is to sit and learn and write. Baruch Hashem, I wrote around 20-25 books. This is one of them.
Yeah.
And the books would be deep, but very user-friendly, with charts, so this is Agada Shel Pesach, that Baruch Hashem, lots of people are using it and say that it changed Leila Seder, because it's also deep thoughts, but user-friendly, and riddles and answers for the riddles and topic for discussion, things that will help them to make special Leila Seder. And I wrote 4 books in Hilchot Shabbos, so it would be from the Gemara, the Rishonim, all the sources, but would be deep but very user-friendly, that also rabbis are using it, and also people that have no background but are smart can use it, and lots of other topics. This is my main hat. My hat is Torah, but I believe the Torah is Torat Chesed. How do I know when I learn Torah? If I learned well, if in the end of learning I have motivation to do Chesed, I know I'm on the right way. It should be together. And because of this, I'm most of my time in Torah. I have a team of 100 people in the Chesed. I can dream and I can give them directions and they're doing it. And so it takes time, but still most of my day is Torah, and the energy of Torah helps me to continue other things. And to be the chief rabbi, it means that I won't be able to write, to learn anymore. I was too busy. I have a plan to write another 20 books in the next 10 years. And I feel that I do so many things today, so much in so many areas, that I can teach and learn most day and still have the energy and the influence to create lots of chesed and good things in the world.
I know that the Rav is very involved in chesed because one of the people that I won't say who she is, but she's almana. She lost her husband. He was a soldier, tzaddik. And I was asking her for some ideas for questions for talking to the Rav. And she said, as a side point, that whenever her children reach out to the Rav, call, text, the Rav is there for them. What are there touching stories that the Rav has been involved in the past year or two since the war broke out?
Wow. So first of all, from the time that the war broke out, I took all Sulamot, my organization, I told them, now we're focusing, helping injured soldiers. We're helping with lots of gifts and things to give them koach, helping soldiers, ceramic vests, drones, other things, helping almanos, yetomim, widows and orphans. Leila Seder I made with 400 widows and orphans from this war, helping the families to return back to their homes, helping now the wives of the soldiers that the husband is already third time in reserve, 200 or 300 days that he did, and to help them. So I'm involved with them all the time. And because of this, I get lots of questions. I got questions also in the past. I wrote also 2 books for the army soldiers. But now I get hundreds of questions, and some of them are very touching. For example, a lady that calls me after the beginning of the war, and she says, Rabbi, they just discovered that she has cancer of the brain. Rabbi, she said, I'm worried, I have to go to treatment, to do things. I have 5 kids. It's very complicated me to take care of them. The youngest one is half a year. And I don't know what to do because my husband is now in reserve in Gaza. If I'll call him and I'll ask him to come, he'll come. But Rabbi, I don't know if it's the right thing to do. Who is first? Myself or Am Yisrael?
Wow.
Just to think someone, how many women in the world will think twice? And she asks, she doesn't know who is first when the world puts themselves in the center. And this woman says, I don't know. Maybe I should succeed being here. And a month ago, after a year more, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
I came to the Shiva. And her husband told me that although when she asked me, I told her, look, Am Yisrael is first, but we can find a soldier that will be instead of your husband now. We cannot find someone who will be instead of your husband. Now he needs you. And like we need to help the battlefront, we need to help the home front. It's important to be strong. I went to the Shiva and the husband told me that for 2 days she didn't call at all. After I told her that she can call him. And then she called him, she spoke to him, and then she says, I managed, stay there. And he stayed another 2 weeks. After 2 weeks he came for Shabbat, then went again, and then came and returned. But to see our nation, to see Am Yisrael, to see the people, to see how they are ready to give everything, to risk their life, to sacrifice everything, that Am Yisrael will have success.
Everyone, there's a lot more coming. I promise. Stick around. But first, the episode is brought to you by Twillory, my go-to brand for men's clothing. Their soft shirts and button-downs are next level, super comfortable, machine washable, and in my opinion, more durable than any other brand out there. I'm wearing one of them right now, the stretch shirts, and it's as comfortable as it gets. Twillory also has classic shirts and a variety of fits to suit everyone's style. Whether it's casual or professional, they've got you covered. Plus, get $18 off your first order of $139 or more with the code word INSPIRE. Have you not gotten something from Twillory yet? Trust me, once you try them, you will not look back. All right, listen up. Everyone wants a free car lease. I meant, who doesn't? A free car? So in order to enter, your chance to win a free car lease, and it's simple as this. You're going to download the PZ Deals app, whether you have Apple or Android, you could download the app. And if you don't already know, PZ Deals is the app that helps you save big on travel, shopping, and more. Think massive discounts, crazy deals, and flights at ridiculously discounted rates. You know how your cousin Shlomi always gets tickets to Israel for $150 and you didn't even know about it? Yeah, here's the secret. He likely has the PZ Deals app and it notifies him when these deals come online. Here's how you can win that free car lease. Download the PZ Deals app and you'll automatically be entered into the giveaway. This is your chance to save money on items that you want and actually need and potentially drive away in a brand new lease for free. Don't miss it. Download the PZ Deals app and never pay full price again. Now back to this week's episode. There's a quote, and I don't want to botch it, but you said something along the lines of 80% of the Jewish people agree on 80% of things. I don't know. Is that, I think you said it a few years ago. Is that accurate? Because at least before the war, there's it looks like so many different kinds of Jews and in all capacity, and it looks like there's a lot of machlikas. Are we ultimately seeing eye to eye?
Okay, good question. There's another project that I'm working.
I feel like any question is going to answer with another project.
I'm working on a unity project.
Yeah.
And I'm working in a lot of areas, but one of them that I focus now is teenagers. Teenagers, 17 years old. I went to speak to President Herzog on it, and he said, wow, this is brilliant. This is a real startup, because to speak with them now, they have no agenda. They can be straight. And in a minute, they're going to be in university. They're going to have influence. And I took thousands of frum kids, observant, and kids, not kids, teenagers, yes, it's more complicated, 17 years old, 18 years old, and thousands of not observant, not religious. How do I have them? So, another project that I started a few years ago, I went at Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night. Usually teenagers are going to have fun. I don't like it. And I wanted them to sit and learn. How do you bring them to sit and learn? If I'll go and invite them every town, I'm not sure they'll come. What we did through Sulamot, it's called Torah Noar. We took every town, teenagers that are leaders, and we trained them how to invite their friends, how to arrange everything, to invite a Rav, a Rabbanit that will give shiur. And we have in 80 towns, every Motzei Shabbat, and also in the middle of the week, they come, they have shiurim, they have food, and we have every Motzei Shabbat 12,000 teenagers that are learning. So I have soldiers, I have those teenagers that are frum. There's another organization that is not frum, not observant, and they try to educate to values by gym, by sports, called Chamesh Etzbaot. Okay, so we combined together, and we did lots of activities this year. And 2.5 weeks ago, we did a huge event in Tel Aviv. Event of unity of 2,500 teenagers, half observant, half not observant. And was very exciting, was good atmosphere, they said. And we did one line observant, one line not observant, religious, not religious. And we did special activities, and one of them we did speed date, turn around, and now the religious are speaking with the non-religious. We had questions, and we saw that on most of the questions, most of them said the same thing. Okay, there are things that they don't agree, but lots of the things on the state of Israel and the army and the future here, lots of the things, they were on the same page. So first of all, I think it's true that 80%, I think the same on 80%. I think after the war, it's even more. I'm very close. We are helping communities that some of them are not exactly like me. Netiva Asara and Zikim and places that are usually the majority won't be observant, would be more left. We are very close friends. I can come there, they can hug me, Rav, we love you, and we can be in touch, and I love them. We can feel that we want to be close. And I have to say, my goal is not to educate people to think the same. I think that really this is the truth, that Am Yisrael, usually, the majority of 80%, they think the same on 80%. But still, there's 20%. What do you do? I think what you should do in marriage, you should do there. What you should do in marriage, and now maybe it's not a marriage counseling, but just shortly.
Sure.
You know, every married couple has arguments. It's okay. How do we know if the argument is good or bad? Usually in argument, what is the goal? What is the goal when someone argues with someone else? His goal is to win. In marriage, if one of the sides is winning, both of them are losing. We have to know that we have to try to switch from winning to building. What's the difference between winning and building? So first, there are lots of them. I'll just say two. first difference is, when you are trying to win, usually you don't listen at all to the other side. All the time you think, what are you going to answer him? How are you going to beat? When you are trying to build, you are listening. Not just listening, you are trying even to take off your glasses and to wear his glasses. And to try to think, why does he think different than me? Sometimes you'll understand new things that you didn't think about them before. And the second thing is, when someone is trying to win, he's trying to beat, sometimes to destroy, to kill the other side almost. When we are trying to build, we want that both sides would be happy. And it changed everything. Because all the time, also if you feel something and you feel you are right, you're trying all the time that also the other side would be happy. And when you try to do it, so both sides can agree on many more things than when you are trying just to beat. So I'm trying to educate teenagers, adults, like in marriage, to educate how to be in a way that also if you think different, I think 80% is the same, but also if the 20% different, it's okay. You can think different and still we can love each other and understand that we are one family.
Really beautiful. And the Rav, I guess, was explaining, the 80 and 20 verse, Orthodox and non-Orthodox. And I kind of look at the Rav as like in middle of like this Venn diagram. One side is, I'll just call it Zionism, the love of the state of Israel. And then the other side is, call it like Yeshivish or Torah. And in the frum world, there's this sort of machlokas also, like the Yeshivish versus the Zionistic. And I kind of see the Rav in the middle of, because on the one side, the Rav is Machshav Torah, that's his life. And the other side, Rav is Machshav Eretz Yisrael. How does the Rav balance those two worlds?
First of all, I have to say, the Torah is the center of my life. And because Torah is the center of my life, I feel that Eretz Israel and Am Israel and the state of Israel and Tzahal, the IDF, this is a part of my Emunah world. A child came to me and asked me, Rabbi, can you prove that Hashem exists? And Rabbi, I'm in a rush, I have no time, so 2 minutes. I told him, if you would ask me 100 years ago, it would take me a few hours to explain on Briat HaOlam, creating of the world, on Yetziat Mitzrayim, Egypt, Matan Torah. Today, no problem, 2 minutes. So what's the answer? I told him, never in history, a nation was chucked out of the country and after thousands of years returned. Never in history it happened, and all the history historians said that it cannot happen. We knew it will happen because the Torah tells us it will return. And it's not just that we returned. The Torah told us, "Ve'itivcha v'yirbecha me'avotecha," you will be better than what you were before. And the Nevi'im, Nevi Hoshea, Yeshayahu, Nevi'im speaks on how we'll have so many good things here. And to see, after 2,000 years that almost everyone tried to kill us, that we are back in Eretz Israel, that we have the state of Israel, that we have an army, that the state of Israel is successful in so many things. I'm not speaking just on Torah, that of course it's more Torah than was almost ever in history today in Eretz Israel, but not just Torah. One of the first 10 in high-tech, in medicine, reaching the space. There's something called the measure of happiness. A few months ago, they published Israel is number 5 in the world, with all the balagan, with everything in the world. Last year, we were number 4. It's okay. We in the world to go from 4 to 5. It's okay. We see that Hashem is with us, that God is with us. We see all this and I feel, wow, I cannot understand how a Yid would not be believer today. But to understand what's going on with the state of Israel, with the IDF, it's a part of the Emunah. it's as a religious, as a Torah man, it just gives me more chizuk to see what happened now in the last few months. What we had now in the last few months, the miracles that we had, are miracles in the size of stories in Tanakh, in the Torah, in Nevi'im. To see that twice Iran sent hundreds of missiles. You know, science wrote that if we would have 85% of success, it would be a miracle. 99%, no one can explain. To understand, it's unbelievable.
Right. We take it for granted. It's like, oh, we have good technology, but it's like,
okay,
it's crazy.
And also the other miracles. Of course, it's connected also with what Tzahal is doing, but it's still a huge miracle with the pages, with the walkie-talkie. Unbelievable. And also this is something that never happened in history, that a nation could kill enemy that is mixed with civilians and to kill just the enemies who had pages. Just Hezbollah and the commanders of the Hezbollah. So maybe one or two got also wounded, but it's unbelievable. Also the words to say, wow, Am Yisrael, bravo, kol hakavod. Instead, they don't say it because anti-Semitism, also when it's against sense, they would say, oh, what did you do? What do you mean? We did the best thing that we can do. We have a mission to make the world better. And you see what happened with Nasrallah, and we killed 80% of his team. And Sinuar that Hashem gave us. Okay, the army killed him, but everything was by chance. He went out of his tunnel. And so many miracles, because also after they killed him, usually you don't know who you killed. You know, it's very complicated to find, and they're covered with stones. And after a few hours, the soldiers are going to see, and by miracle, they discover that it's him. If they wouldn't discover that it's him, it would have an opposite effect. All history, people will say, Sinuar, no one could kill him. And to see what happened now with Syria, to understand that Syria is one of the most dangerous enemies of Am Yisrael. Who could dream that Tzahal, in 2 days, would destroy all the army, all the air force, all the vessels of Syria, without even one injured soldier? It's miracles that I said, like Tanakh, it's unbelievable. And when I look on what happens today with the IDF and with all the war now, it's not that I have Torah and I have the army. Someone who believes in Torah sees what's going in the army and says, wow, Hashem, God is with us. Hashem Elokecha mithalech bekerev machanecha. The Torah tells us that Hashem is with us, God is with us in an army camp. Le'atzilcha, latet oivecha lefanecha, to save you. We see it in our eyes. And I think that everyone, all of this is one package. I think that as much as someone learns more Torah, believes in more Torah, believes in more, has more emunah, believes more in Hashem, he'll see all what's going around with the state of Israel, with Tzahal, with the war now, as a part of his emunah.
Very powerful. When war erupts, the world watches intently, but as time passes, attention wanes while the hardships faced by Israeli soldiers persist. Thousands of soldiers have left behind families, careers, and businesses to protect Israel. Many have gone through months without work, and some have lost everything due to the war's economic toll. This Hanukkah, or whenever you're watching, let's remind these courageous soldiers you're never forgotten. Sword to Shekel has already distributed over 600 gift cards to 400 soldiers, bringing them moments of joy and relief. These gifts mean more than a kind gesture. They are practical lifelines. Soldiers like the ones Rabbi Rimon has shared stories about can use these gift cards to buy essentials for their families, warm clothing for winter nights, or even a small treat to brighten their days. By giving thoughtful presents sourced from small Israeli businesses, we not only support those defending our homeland, but also help sustain local shops. Each gift is a token of gratitude that fosters hope and strength. Here's a taste of the impact you helped make.
We're here today with a very special unit from the IDF to give out to 400 IDF soldiers over 600 gift cards and 3 grills that we're raffling off.
Thank you, Swords to Shekels, for supporting us and giving us a little break.
To get the appreciation that people know that you are doing something, That's the best thing I can get. After 270 days of fighting in Gaza, I want to thank you for all the gifts and the vouchers that you give us.
It's make us stronger in the front line.
Thank you.
Chanukah Sameach.
So visit swordtoshekel.org. That's sword number 2, shekel.org today and open your heart and give. Because even as the headlines fade, our support endures. Light up lives this Hanukkah or whenever you're watching this, one powerful gift at a time. Please open your hearts and give. Now, we'll be right back this week's episode, maybe the most powerful moment coming up. But first, let's talk about BitBean. I've been working with them on a project and they completely get it. Whether it's app development, building a website, or solving complex business challenges, BitBean ensures the process isn't overwhelming while helping you create the product of your dreams. They've helped organizations, real estate, healthcare, and beyond streamline operations and build innovation solutions. Running a business or developing software can get messy, but BitBean brings clarity, simplifies the process, and delivers custom solutions tailored to your needs. Elevin L'chaim, we trust BitBean for all things software because they make it easy to turn big ideas into reality. Ready to transform your business? Visit bitbean.com. They've got you covered and they will walk you through it. Plus, they're great people there and you'll enjoy working with them. Now back to this week's episode. One of the, I guess, most complicated things happening is, unfortunately, we still don't have the hostages back, and it's been devastating for Am Yisrael. And what's the Rav's stance on, and I'm sure the Rav got this halachic question of what's the approach for a ceasefire and if there is, like, how do we go about that?
Okay. Now, there are things that I cannot share now. I can tell you that if you ask on complicated questions, they are coming usually from places like ministers, like high degrees in the army, sometimes Mossad, or other places. I have one condition with all of them. I'm ready to give advice, to speak with all of them, and I do it a lot. But they mustn't mention my name. I don't want to be involved in politics and other things. I think that we can give a view of Torah that can help. I won't speak on all the things, but I'll say briefly. There are tshuvos years ago that spoke about a deal with hostages to release terrorists and to get the hostages back. There are systems that said, no, you mustn't do it because it brings us in danger. All those terrorists that will be like Sinwar. Mm-hmm. They can kill us. It's like that you see now the hostages, and maybe you can look on another 2, 3, who knows how many faces that we don't know yet who they are, and you say, okay, they will be killed for saving those. Mm. So it's complicated. There are tshuvos that says, maybe it's true. Maybe it's true we are saving now 1, 200, 200, and maybe 2,000 will be killed because of it. Maybe it's true. But in pikuach nefesh, in danger of life, this pikuach nefesh of now and pikuach nefesh of the future. And because now they are in danger, you have to save them. Although you are putting in danger, let's say, 2,000 people. Because this is the future and you don't know what will be in the future. And this is another system. I think, first of all, to understand that to be a hostage is terrible. The Gemara in Gittin says that there are things of starving and disease and death. ושבויים יותר מהכל. To be a hostage is terrible more than everything. It's terrible. We have to think on them all the time. We have to pray for them all the time. All the time. This is not a question, all the time. But the question is what to do. And I think that all those tshuvos are not connected at all to our situation. Why? Because now we are in a war. When you are in a war, the Torah tells you to go to war, although the Torah knows that every war, people would be killed. And it shows us, and Minchas Chinuch says it, Rav Kook says it, shows us that a war is, to win the war, is so important also if it's on the, will happen with pikuach nefesh, that people are going to die. And we understand that the victory is the most important thing now. The victory is something that helps Am Yisrael to be strong, to be safe. Victory Am Yisrael is also Kiddush Hashem. The Torah says in Matot, מלחמת השם המניין, נקמת בני ישראל. And Rashi says there, someone who fights against Am Yisrael fights against Hashem, against God. We know we must win. And because of this, also in a deal, one question is, okay, you release other people, what will happen, but let's leave all those things. There's another issue that we have to know. We need to bring the hostages all the time. The main goal of us is to fight, to destroy everything till the hostages will be here. We should tell all the world, America, all the world, if you would have hostages there, you wouldn't agree for any deal. We are going now to do everything, to fight, to destroy, till they'll have no choice and they'll give us the hostages. This would be the best thing. But sometimes maybe you cannot reach this thing, and sometimes maybe you have to do in some part a deal. But a deal could be a deal that it's not a part of losing, it's a part of winning. If you do a deal and you lose in the war, it's a problem. If you do a deal by winning, you are winning. And in the end of the war, okay, you are changing hostages here, there. This is something that I think that can be done. And because of this, although the main way should be to succeed in the war, kill till they'll come back, and if we would do it from the beginning, without speaking with Hamas at all, I'm sure that all the hostages will be here already. But we didn't do it also because of the world, other things, it doesn't matter now. But now we are winning. We are winning in all parameters. In Hezbollah, and Hamas, and Syria. Okay, it's not the end, but we are winning. And because we are winning, I think that now it's a time that we can consider a deal that it will be responsible. What is responsible? I won't speak now. But of course, not every deal that brings us in risk. But when you are winning, part of the winning, there is an option also for a deal. And of course, we have to think day and night, all the time to think on the hostages, all the time. I'm visiting once, twice, or 3 times a week injured soldiers. Lots of them told me that they were injured, might try to find the hostages. I mean, it's our goal all the time. We mustn't forget a minute. And every Chag, I'm doing something, and also now in Hanukkah, I did it for Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, the Simanim, Sukkot, Ushpizin, to invite also a hostage, and also now, I wrote for every Ner of Hanukkah, Yehi Ratzon, and one for the soldiers, one for the hostages, one for the Almanos, that we'll remember. We mustn't forget them for a minute, and I think that now, there is a big opportunity that Be'ezrat Hashem, we can bring them back.
Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. As we wind down, I like to ask the guests some fun questions. So first question is, if there's one person from history who's no longer with us, if the Rav could spend an hour with, who would that be?
Wow. So there are a lot of people that I would like to be with them, such as David HaMelech, such as Hillel HaZaken, Rabbi Akiva, Rashi, the Rama. Every name I have explanation, but I won't explain. But Rama, just for example, I'm crying when just think on Rama that wrote a book and agreed to put it aside because he heard that Shulchan Aruch, that his father wrote another book, and he, instead of his book, he wrote just words to complete, to Hagahot, that we'll have one book. Chafetz Chaim, Maran Rav Kook Zatzal. All of them I would like to meet, and it's complicated for me to think if I would have to choose from them. I think that in the end, I would choose Rav Kook, I think. But there's another one that I think I would choose him. And this is my grandfather. I had the zchus to be named after him, Yosef Zvi Rimon. He was a very famous poet. Rav Kook was very close to Rav Kook, and Rav Kook wrote on him that he's the greatest poet in the last few hundred years. He was a real tzaddik and poet. There is a street on his name in Tel Aviv, in Yerushalayim, in Bnei Brak. And although I never saw him, but first of all, I'm named after him, Yosef Zvi Rimon. And secondly, every Shabbos at home, we were reading one of his poems. I know lots of them by heart. I can feel him. I have get lots of koach from him. So I think that in the end, I would choose my grandfather.
Very beautiful answer. Is there one mitzvah out of the 613 that means a little more to the Rav than the rest?
Wow. It's complicated to say, because of course, what I love to do most is to learn Torah, and I do it all day. Most of the day I'm learning Torah and teaching. Tefillah is very important in my life. On Shabbos I wrote 4 books. I'm finishing now the 5th book on Shabbos. Of course, Shabbos is important, and it's very important part of my life. If I'll say one mitzvah that I feel that for me is, cannot say, main, but very important mitzvah. Rambam in Chod Deot Perek Vav says that we have a mitzvah of Ve'avta L'Reacha Kamocha. Okay, I'm not speaking of Ve'avta L'Reacha Kamocha because this is too large. That you have to love your friends. But Rambam gives examples. The first example that Rambam brings, Keitzad, how? Yesaper B'Shivcho. Yesaper B'Shivcho means to give compliments. This is a mitzvah. I love Hashem, and I believe that human beings are created in Tzelem Elokim, and because of this, I love people. And then when I love people, always I try to search for good things and to tell them. You can say that my children will tell you that it's like a disease already. All the time, Daddy, how can you look all the time positive? Okay, there are bad things also. But to see good things in people, in the world, Yesaper B'Shivcho, to see and to say it. In the Torah, Bereshit, Shmot, Vayikra, B'Midbar, it doesn't say any time that Hashem loves us or that we love Him. Sefer Dvarim, suddenly we see a lot. Ve'avta et Hashem Elokecha, we should love Him. And that Hashem loves us. לא מרובכם אהב השם אתכם. Few times. Why? Of course, also before Hashem loved us and we loved Him. It's also once that it's somehow. But Moshe Rabbeinu, the educator, teaches us it's not enough to love. You need to say. You need to say, we love Hashem. And Hashem loves us. We love Hashem. And you have to say good things. Also in marriage. I tell marriage couple, every day you must give a compliment. Every day to say something good. Compliment is not just, wow, you finished PhD. Okay? Small things. Every day. And I think that also in every human being, but especially in Am Yisrael, to see good things, to say it. And also if the other things, maybe you don't agree. There's so many good things. Search for good things. When you search them, you find את הנקודה האלוקית, the point of God in this person. And like this, I think you make the world better. And this is our goal, to make things better, Now, Baruch Hashem, I have also Sulamot. Now I'm the president of Mizrahi Olami, and also Machon Lev, Mizrahi Olami, that helps also lots of communities here, also to be connected to Torah, but also to try to do good things in the world for Am Yisrael, for Eretz Yisrael, and also it should start by searching good things in the community, in the family, with a good view, we can change the world.
Amen. Okay, thank you very much. And we're gonna leave links for if anyone wants to buy the Rav Svarim, or links for, and you have a lot of organizations, but we'll leave a few links there also.
So the things that we are doing now, we are helping soldiers, injured soldiers, families, helping now wife of soldiers. So it's lots of projects of millions that we are trying all the time. Baruch Hashem, we have lots of siyata dishmaya, but lots of communities here are helping, and thanks to them, we can do all those things. And through Sulamot, that it's tax deductible also in America, you can do it. You can reach the rabbis here. All of them should know also the details.
Amazing.
Toda, it was wonderful to speak to you.
Thank you. This is great. If you got this far in this week's episode, drop the word holy in the comments, because that's what the Jewish people are. Again, reminder to let us know when you watch this episode. Let us know in the comments. Before I get to my thoughts on this week's episode, thank you again to our sponsors, PZ Deals. Whether it's a bugaboo or a shirt or a coffee maker, they've got the deals. Oh, a flight to Europe for like $10? Yeah, check them out, because you'll never pay full price again. Twillory, the unmatched comfort, style, and durability in men's clothing, plus it's machine washable. Sword to Shekel, supporting Israeli soldiers with essential gifts while uplifting local businesses. And of course, BitBean, custom software that turns business challenges into seamless solutions. Now, I'm not sure if you realize just how special Rabbi Rimon is, a true Talmid Chacham who deeply cares for every Jew. But what really stuck with me from everything he said was a story he shared about the woman fighting cancer. She had a decision to make. Should she tell her husband, a soldier defending the land, about her diagnosis? Most of us, faced with such a terrifying reality, would instinctively think about ourselves first, and that's completely normal. But her first thought was, what about him? About protecting his ability to focus on the mission for Klal Yisrael. It's such a powerful reminder that we're not just individuals, we're part of something bigger, a united family. In our day-to-day lives, it's so easy to get caught up with what's best for us personally, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what if we paused for a moment and thought about someone else's needs? What if we asked ourselves, how can I make someone else's life a little easier today? That woman's courage and selflessness are a lesson for me and us all. She reminds me that when we think beyond ourselves, even in the hardest moments, we're not just helping others, we're strengthening the whole. And that's the beauty of being part of Am Yisrael. We're putting this out on Hanukkah, so Freilich Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. And remember, inspiration is everywhere. L'chaim. Living L'chaim.